Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show today. You know why? Because today we are also going to be messing with your mind. And when we we have somebody here who's going to mess with your mind. But anyhow, folks, Lupita, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great.
You know what? My headphone is misbehaving. I can barely hear you guys. It must be a bad connection. How's it going today?
It's going great. I had some good pizza. And I'm just here with my favorite people.
Yes, you know what? Your favorite people. And who is out there? Hey, folks, let me tell you, before you turn off, I know you guys have been listening to KPFT and like, dang, those guys are in pledge drive again. And I'm going to turn the channel. Don't, because we have a great show for you today. We're talking about your mind and we're talking about politics. And you know what? There is some intersectionality there. Lupita, who do we have there in Pledge Central?
Hello. It's Tori.
Hey, Tori, what's going on, my brother?
Well, we just had one phone call from a Trump supporter, and they didn't make a pledge for some reason.
A Trump supporter didn't make a pledge to Politics Done Right?
Yeah, they're complaining about all that communism.
But they love Politics Done Right. You know, call them back and tell them that we want that pledge now.
Yeah.
Anyhow, how are you doing today, Tori?
Oh, wonderful. Life
Great.
is beautiful.
We're going to have a great pledge drive, and we're going to have a great program. Today's program is titled Dr. Alauna Curry. Wait, is that the title? Let me make sure. No, that's not the title. The title is Dr. Alauna will tie much of today's occurrences to our trauma pathology. And you know what? I hadn't even talked to you about giving it that title, Dr. Alauna.
That's okay.
But, you know, I listen to you so much so that I know the kinds of things that, you know.
You know what I talk about.
I know what you talk about.
Exactly.
Anyhow, subtitle, Dr. Alauna Curry is in the studio discussing both our personal and national trauma and causality. And, of course, politics is ever present. If you're in a show called Politics Done Right, hey, what can I say?
I say politics is people, so you know.
Oh, you see why she's on this show, man. She said She says she don't mind. Politics is people, man. Anyhow, Dr. Alauna Curry sits with us to talk about a subject that affects us all. Trauma is a multidimensional and is multidimensional and expresses itself in many ways. From our personal lives to our politics to our decision-making process, it is something that, unless understood, creates a chaotic existence. Folks, did I get that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You know, I got to watch the words that I use. You know, when I'm on my show, I can talk my stuff, but usually I don't have a doctor on to say, well, you know, when you look clinically speaking.
I would never do you like that.
You sure?
This is your show.
No, but you know what No, absolutely. Any listener of Politics Done Right knows something. It's not my show.
Okay.
It is everybody else's show.
Everybody's show.
It's the people's show.
It's the people's show.
Lupita, whose show is it again?
The people's.
Yes.
You know,
I'm the people's doc.
You are the people's doc. You know what? It's so funny. Before there you go. Before I go any further, you know, I mean, people would call in, you know, and this is what drives me crazy when I get folks on the show. Even when, you know, sometimes somebody that writes a book would come on the show and I know they want to say something else, but because they think they're on somebody's show, they don't want to say what they're supposed to say. And I'm like, damn it, this is not that kind of show. You go out and say it, because the idea, I'm trying to get people over here to start talking. Doctor, you know something that is important. One of the biggest pathologies in this country is everybody holding everything and nobody say diddly.
Yeah, we have a very difficult time processing our emotions, and we especially have a difficult time talking about thinking about and dealing with our greatest problems, our emotional problems, right? The things that make us feel the worst inside, we say, don't talk about that.
Is that crazy or what?
Well, it certainly is a mark of insanity, but it's very common, so it's kind of hard. Like when you say crazy, that's a subjective term.
Right.
So that word is a great example of how when you say crazy, everybody will have a different mental picture of what crazy means, a different definition.
So that is why you told me earlier today before we got in the show, I said, so you listened to some of the stuff that I say, and you said, yeah, I listened to some of the stuff, and you say, I like it. Well, kind of. That is why you held back, because...
I like most of it.
Okay. So you hold back because what you're trying to say is you have to learn how to make sure people are listening to you. Is that right?
I believe that judgment, not only do I believe it, I know that when people feel judgment, it causes an internal painful sensation, and it causes them to not digest your message. Because no matter how well you're saying it or what you're saying or the truth in it, when they get hit with the stuff that makes them feel red on the inside, your message gets lost.
That's what you've got to make sure to show me, I hope, in the delivery of what. No, because, I mean, we what's going on and folks, I'm going to continue with the show in a minute, but she got me into talking. You see, she makes with your mind, man.
That's what I do.
Okay, but you see, the stuff that I am doing, the work that I'm doing, is I consider it existential for the middle class and for poor folks and everything, right? But sometimes those are the people themselves that are resistant to the message.
Sure.
And if I can't get to them because of my delivery, I ain't doing my job.
Sure.
And that's what
I agree.
Oh, she agrees.
You will find no disagreement there.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that challenged me the most with the concept of empathy. So I'll tell you a little background about myself and how I got here.
Okay.
If that's okay. So I've been a psychiatrist at the VA in Houston for quite some time. During my residency training, we worked in the VA, and then even when I finished residency, I took a job at the VA.
Right.
And my patients came from everywhere, all over the place. Their shell, their packaging, the body they walked around in, the white, black, other, etc. But they all had the same issue.
Right.
And they all had the same... now I won't, when I say same, I'm not saying that they all got there the same way. They all had different traumatic experiences that shaped the way they think, but they got the same brain structure, and they had the same approach to how they dealt with the world, which is through that trauma lens. So when I started understanding empathy and how important it was to take the perspective of the other person, not just from what I think about it, but really hearing them out and how they think and what their experiences have been and why they think of it the way that they do, it took me through a huge shift in my understanding of people that I disagree with, including Trump supporters and so on and so forth, because I started to recognize that every person thinks that their version of reality is the reality, right? Through your brain, you can only experience things through your body, through your brain, and you're not privy to what's going on inside of the other person other than what you can see from the outside. And that's how we typically walk around and make decisions about the world, with this stereotyping. Like I look at your package and I decide that I know a whole lot about what's going on inside of you, which is absurd, right? There's so many different ways to be human. So anytime you're doing that stereotyping, you're functioning in a primitive state, if you will. You're making assumptions about what you're seeing and experiencing, and you're drawing huge conclusions from from very, very limited data. Sliver of information. And you're saying that's what I'm thinking, what I believe it is, that's fact, and I'm going to act on that. However I'm feeling, that's the truth, and I just go with it. And that's how most people operate.
Okay, now in the work that I'm doing, and I'm putting this on me now because I am using this as a learning experience for several reasons. You know, one of the interesting thing if anybody who has a platform, you have a platform. If people can see that you are willing to accept and learn themselves, it actually opens the door for them to feel, I don't feel stupid doing it if XYZ has to do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So going back to myself now, I've sort of tried some of those things. In other words, you were talking about a Trump supporter and realizing that you can't just look at them as a Trump supporter. You have to kind of look a little bit deeper. How much leeway do we give? How much leeway do we give people based on them, let's say, doing crazy things?
Define leeway.
How much? I don't want to say Help me define leeway. You help me define leeway.
Well, the reason I asked for the definition, which I'm trying to model
right.
what I think all of us could do better,
right.
is making sure that we understand all of the parts of the question before we respond
to it. I guess leeway in that regard would kind of mean something like, how do you just not give up on them?
Okay.
Ever, because I have it in my mind that, and some of my audience get pissed at me when I say they're my friends.
Mm-hmm. I don't ever believe in giving up on a person, but I'm a psychiatrist because I mean, what happens for me is that when I talk to the other person enough and I give them the emotional safety to express themselves and what they think and what they, inside now I might be,
right.
I might be rocking and rolling about
right.
what it is
right.
that they're saying, but I'm attempting to create a space that they can say what they think and feel and where it came from.
Right.
Because once I know where it came from, I can really effectively take them from wherever they are to where the information would prove
right.
they need to be. But if I don't talk to them long enough and wrestle myself long enough to get enough information from them about where they're coming from, I will have a very difficult time breaking through their stereotypes, and they will have a very difficult time breaking through mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to take care of veterans who were Republicans and Trump supporters and are blatantly racist. As a black woman, I'm in here trying to help you get better from your mental health, and I know that you have issues with me and
right.
issues with people that look like me. But when we got through with the conversations and the treatment, and I understood what was their background, where did they come from, what did their life look like, who hurt them,
right.
what hurt them,
right.
what have they experienced from people that they're making a stereotypical or a biased judgment about, and their experience with me is going to be partially corrective because I'm going to treat them like the soul that they are, but I know that they don't understand these brain systems like I do and how the things cause them to think and feel certain ways. And I also know that there's information that they're missing that's easily provable, but people have a very hard time letting go of what they already believe. But they certainly are not going to let go of it if you're judging them, if you're talking down to them, if you're making them feel bad. You have the automatic invisible block of them feeling negatively about you, so they won't accept your information.
And there you go. They're really important, deep, and things that we need to know. Now, you know what you did?
But very simple.
What did I do?
I don't know if it's simple, but I mean, it is understandable, but I think if a lot of things were simple,
sure,
people would do it.
It's more simple than you think.
Yeah. Okay.
It's simple once you really get to know
it.
No,
yeah, exactly. But folks, you see what Dr. Alauna did right there? She didn't give Politics Done Right a chance to completely get into the show. Why? Because we got to start. But folks, listen to me now. We are in Fund Drive. So call 713-526-5738 as we continue with the show. Even though we are in Fund Drive mode at KPFT, I am giving a full show, as you can see, as Dr. Alauna just took it over. I am giving a full show. I ask that you call in and give a nice, solid, pledge at 713-526-5738. But before I get to the program, we already got to the program. What do I mean by before I get to the program? We already got to the program. I want to talk about all those programs that I like, I love. Think Wing Radio with
Mike Koenig on Mondays at 3 p.m.
Then, of course, we have Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and crew on Mondays at 6 p.m.
And then there is Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin jazz at its very best. That is who again?
Juan Flores.
And who else again?
Lupita, that's me.
Lupita, that's me.
Tuesdays at 12 noon.
Absolutely so. And then, of course, we have Gener Asian Radio, a weekly radio program featuring an eclectic mix of Asian underground, Bagra, Bollywood, funk, Hindi, Rai, where ancient sounds meet future beats. And that is...
It's right after this show from 4 to 6 p.m.
And as I'm going home, I'm jamming to it, folks. So check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station. So please, please, please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by whom?
The corporatocracy.
Folks, remember that. Not influenced by the corporatocracy. Look, because we have Dr. Alauna here today, we're not going to have a blog of the week. She's going to take that spot of the blog. She's just going to take over that as blog of the week. But anyhow, Tori in Pledge Central, talk to me and please tell me that some phones are ringing. I know everybody wants to hear the doctor here, but we need those phones ringing.
Egberto, we're having a trauma here in Pledge Central. We need some empathy. If there's a doctor in the house or driving around or lounging out by the pool, please call 713-526-5738. We need some pledges. Nobody's pledged so far for your show.
Oh, wow. I'm so hurt. We brought a star in, folks. 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738. I know, you know what happens a lot of time, Dr. Alauna? What you find is that the show gets too interesting. In other words, you're taking so many folks. The folks are not going to call because they don't want to miss the next thing. Sure. So, folks, while we are on a pause from La Doctora here, give us a call at 713-526-5738. You don't want them to cut Politics Done Right because you know what? We have a very, very large, we actually have a very large quota for Politics Done Right. Awesome. So give us a call, 713-526-5738. I'm going to pause and pitch a little bit more because I need you to call before I get into a further segment with Dr. Alauna. So please give us a call, 713-526-5738. I also have a message for Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's supporters that I really, really, really want to talk about because it's important, especially after what El Senor, the former chair of the former leader of the Senate, God, I can't remember his name right now, and I was just talking about him. So anyhow, folks, give us a call, 713-526-5738. Lupita, tell me the phone that's rung or something.
Doesn't look like it from this
folks,
angle.
Can I make a pledge?
Wow. Yes, you can make a pledge.
I want that peace hoodie.
What you want?
The 150.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Doc. Hey. The doctor just made a pledge to... Now,
I want that peace hoodie.
She want that... What is it that you...
It says peace hoodie. I want the peace
hoodie. She's going for the peace hoodie. All right, folks.
Peace.
Listen, folks, you can't let... The doctor is on the show and she makes a pledge. You guys have to follow up and make your pledge. 713-526-5738. Hey, do some pitching for... Is Nabu in there? Because he knows of some other offers that we have. Is he close by or not there or?
He's not here and I don't see him from the cameras.
Okay, what do we have? What else do we have to offer? Hey, folks, you can take a look at my book, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. Give us a call at 713-526-5738. And I don't remember what we have pledged for that. Was that 120 or?
I think you said 120.
120, yeah, 713-526-5738. I'm going to get back to the doctor in a minute, and we're also going to get into Bernie and Warren and the former head of the former Senator Reid, that's his name, Senator Reid. and what he had to say that has a lot of our Bernie people and Warren people up in arms. So please give us a call at 713-526-5738. For those of you who I don't want to go to the phone because I don't want to miss the words of wisdom from Dr. Alauna, please give a call now. I'll be pitching for the next 3 minutes. So 713-526-5738. Give us a word of wisdom there, Tori.
Come on down. It's a beautiful day. Ride your bike. Put on your skates. Just come on down to KPFT. Hang out. We have pizza. There'll be beer here if you bring some. And so come hang out with us. We're having a party. I mean, it's all going on down here in Pledge Central. I mean, we got people hanging out and we're talking. And it's hard to even hear your show over the party we're having in the lobby here. So come on down. Bring your piggy bank,
I don't hear those phones, and I know that there are tons of people out there listening. 713-526-5738. Folks, I know you're tired of us pitching for money, and I know that all the politicians are begging for money, and I know that the parties are begging for money, and I know all the NGOs are begging for money, and then now you have Politics Done Right saying, hey, give me some money. Look, we know that, but I'm gonna be frank, and I'm gonna use one of Doc's one of the things I just learned from Doc here. I'm not gonna be presumptuous in the way I normally say this, so I'm gonna say it a bit different.
Look at change.
I'm gonna say it a bit differently, folks. It's nice that you are paying your cable bill of $200 and $300 a month. Could you consider? Normally, I wouldn't say it this way.
Ask instead of tell. I like this.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Will you consider making a smaller pledge, a much smaller pledge to KPFT via Politics Done Right, maybe on the order of $5 a month or $10 a month?
That's reasonable.
That's
I sacrifice a latte for that.
Yeah, you could
one Starbucks coffee.
I like that,
yeah,
right?
You know,
a Starbucks coffee or something. So give us a call. The doctor here just gave us several Starbucks a month. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 7. I don't hear the phones. 713. I got 2 more minutes to pitch. 713-526-5738. Come on, folks. Ring that phone. Show us that Politics Done Right, a non-presumptuous Politics Done Right is going to work for you. 713-526-5738. Is it ringing, Lupita? Anybody on?
Okay. Don't hear anything.
It's dead.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
That's all right.
Can I make a pitch?
You can make a pitch.
Okay. I'm going to use Dear Man.
Yes, ma'am.
Dear Man is one of the skills that I teach people on how to communicate effectively despite whatever you may be feeling inside.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so let's see. D, describe the facts of the situation. You are tuned in and listening to a show that provides you a relatively balanced perspective on today's politics. Okay. E, express your feelings and opinions about that in I statement. So I believe that it is worth sacrificing that one latte or one fast food trip a month, $5, $10, or some small amount a month in order to keep access to a platform like this. A, assert what you want. I would like for you to stop listening and start moving your arms and hands and fingers in some way to dial in and call and make a pledge to support this show and to support the truth, a platform for truth and honesty and growth that we have here. And the reason you will want to do that is because where would you get this kind of information in this environment that we have today in the media? You probably wouldn't get it because without us actually putting our personal support behind these type of platforms, and I know that there's a lot of competing interests, but even to be able to support the candidate that you want to see in office, you need to know about what's actually going on with everyone, and that's the platform that you give. So that was a long Dear Man. Usually it needs to be shorter in order to be effective, but it's an example of the skills that I teach and why I teach them. So
that is Dare.
That's
How do you spell it? What is
Dear, D-E-A-R, dear man.
it? Dear man.
Dear
Okay.
man. So we're asking. It's a way of communicating or setting boundaries when you want to, talk to other people. Your best self to talk to the other person's best self.
Okay, nice. Now you see why the doctor is on air today. 713-526-5738. Okay, Dr. Alauna, you are having what would you call it? You call it the trauma cure on Saturday, October 26th. Tell me a little bit about this and what's your intent.
The trauma cure is a one-day educational immersive experience. It's my favorite subject. My favorite subject to talk about is trauma and how it affects our brains, our bodies, our thought processes. And so from 8:30 to 5:30 at the Magnolia Hotel downtown, I'm going to feed your mind, I'm going to feed your body, I'll feed your spirit. So we're going to have food, we're going to have music, and we're going to have an opportunity, my opportunity to break down for you how trauma affects the way that we interact with each other every day, and to give the skill set to be able to pull your best self out. We're going into 2020. I have a 2020 vision for 2020. I think that we can turn the corner on all of this trauma, and when I say trauma, I mean natural disasters, racism, gun violence, police brutality, you name it. I think humans are posed to evolve in our thinking by learning to use our better brain, by learning to use our best self, by learning to activate the prefrontal cortex. Like, there's things that we can do to change the way that we're interacting with each other, because right now we're doing it through a lens of fear, and we're doing it through a spiritual blindness, if you will, like people just literally being unable to see the experiences of another person and give those the same equal value as your own. You may not agree with them, you didn't live their life, but to be able to use empathy to truly understand the experiences of another person and allow that to be what informs our politics and informs our decision making about how we put things in play in the world. I think we're right there on the edge of it.
That is my dream. I have, and you touched on all the subjects. You touched on all the subjects that you called trauma, from racial to environmental to all these different issues. And I have that same optimism that, I actually told a whole lot of folks, and I don't know how much of my show you've listened to, but that I think Trump is more of a blessing than anybody would ever think.
Too. Yeah.
Because he
having some much needed conversations.
Right. He allowed a whole lot he took the scab off of a whole lot, so that we could actually see what people, what's in people's minds. It's interesting because, we were in the green room and we were speaking, and one of our friends in there, we were talking about Obama and racism and that kind of stuff. And I said that progressives made a mistake with Obama. I made a mistake as well as a progressive progressive activist, in that we never held him as hard to the fire because he was the first black president, and we didn't want to do certain things as far as expose certain issues. And I said, no, those may have been some mistakes because we just didn't understand how far we could go on several issues. I think now we know it, and I think Trump kind of blow a whole lot of things up that tells us, we shouldn't be holding back anymore as far as being fearful. You mentioned the word fear earlier. Fearful on any particular issue, irrespective of condition, irrespective of race, irrespective of all these things.
I agree and I disagree.
I want to hear the disagree first, because I saw the disagreement in your face rather quickly.
Well, the part that I disagree on is when I take any situation into context. I always can see, in hindsight, you can always look at something and say, we should have done this, we should have done that. But in reality, I think that there were many, many factors going on to why Obama did what he did or why he didn't do some of the things that we would have wanted him to do. And so and I also don't think that I don't necessarily believe in the concept of it was right or wrong to do it a certain way, because at the time you felt like that was the best thing to do. That was the right thing to do. And most people are doing what they think is the right thing to do at any given time. So I just kind of think that with the circumstances, everyone was doing the best that they could and got as much as they could out of the Obama presidency. Of course, we can look at things and be like, well, we could have done this, could have done that.
Yeah.
But there was a lot going on in those circumstances.
Let me just say something, Doc. I'm not trying to be, how should I put it? Like, there are many commentators that are simply outright negative on the president, on the past president. That's not where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from is I think he would have wanted to know that there was going to be the support to force him to do certain things that he didn't do because he didn't know.
Have the support.
He didn't know. The support was actually there.
Right.
But
Wasn't
we were
vocal enough.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that the blessing of this era is that it does bring out into the open a lot of things that we have not talked about and have not addressed.
And tell me some of those. What do you think?
Well, I think, for one, racism.
Right.
I think that we people go, why we got to keep talking about that? We're past that. Aren't we past that?
No, we're not.
Well, it's ingrained in our society. Think about it like this. Our founding fathers and mothers, they came from a traumatized environment in England, which is why they left.
Right.
Because of the persecution that they were experiencing. It's never fun to be persecuted.
Right.
Period. Right. So you come to another place, and at the time they look at human beings who are designed pretty much exactly like them, only have darker skin and little different customs, and they say they're animals. We can do whatever. When I hit them, if they cry, or if I kill them, then that's okay because they're lesser than me. And so I can justify my behavior by seeing the other as lesser and not saying that they're the same as me. Now, they didn't stop them from having children.
With
it didn't
them,
stop them from
right.
doing all kinds of other things, but, humans.
Yeah.
So anyway, when you consider that trauma mode and what it's like to have to basically, even great people, we have this black and white thinking that we do where we like to go, a person is either great or they're horrible, right? So we have this whole debate going on about our past presidents and, I recently saw an article that came out about Thomas Jefferson and some of the University of Virginia
right.
and how many issues they had in terms of slavery and how the slaves were treated. And we like to go, well, they were great, so we shouldn't say anything bad about them, right? Or we shouldn't acknowledge any of the problematic behavior. But if we acknowledge the problematic behavior, now we want to throw them away. They're horrible, they're terrible. It's like they can be both at the same time, and those things are not in opposition. They were great in terms of their vision and what they brought and what they created in the country, but they also had some pretty horrible
things
about them.
Look, Doctor, that is actually deep, the part about the founding fathers. One of these days, probably not today, because I can see based on the way you think, it's going to be a very, very long discussion. But I'd love to get into that part of the founding fathers with you, because I have some very strong issues with that. And you have, I think, a much more forgiving way of being in that regards.
Well,
and
balanced.
But
balanced.
actually, I think I am balanced on that one. But I think I think one of these days we are going to have to talk about that, because it's a bit different than yours in regard. But folks, we needed to call 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738. We are behind on collecting for our pledge drive. I mean, Dr. Alauna is very enlightening. And let me tell you, here's the thing. I forgot that I was in fund drive while talking to her, because I find it so not only illustrative, but I mean, we want to keep on that conversation, because what I find is I love speaking to people who are going to not just burn the thing down, but have a logical conclusion or have a logical step-by-step why we're going to do X, why are we going to do Y, and how do we get here from how do we get there from here? So please give us a call, 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738. Please let those phones ring. We've been giving you a good show. We've given you a darn good show, sort of different from our political ranting, but I think a necessary one, because I tell you what is going to be important, Doc, is we have to get the psychology right as well, not only to win, but what do you do after you win?
Yeah, I think we one of the things that we've lost is that we're so much playing on teams like Team Republican, Team Democrat. We're all on the same ship.
Right.
And it's like your right hand arguing against your left hand,
right, and
fighting each other. How do you get something accomplished? We're on the Titanic here,
right?
And there's a big iceberg, and
yes,
it's like we if we're arguing over which way the wheel is gonna go, we gonna die.
We gonna die. 713-526-5738. Tori.
Yes, we've had one wonderful, generous pledge come in from Bruce. He drove it in himself all the way from the North Pole.
Well, thank you, Bruce. I love that. Bruce is one of our great supporters. But, folks, there's so many of you that listen to the program. Please consider, again, giving at 713-526-5738. Last week, I don't know how close we came to the goal. I know we came pretty close. This week, we need to surpass that to make up what we didn't make. So please give us a call at 713-526-5738. Tori, what do we have to offer?
Oh, there's all kinds of beautiful T-shirts, KPFT T-shirts. I'm going to hold one up to the radio so you can see it. And those go for $100. We got a hemp T-shirt for $75. Key rings, peace hoodies, KPFT caps. We have KPFT socks. We've got everything except for KPFT underwear, everything you need for a formal night out in Montrose.
Thank you for that call.
And here's a little ringy-dingy. Here we go.
Okay, what else have we got? Or is it Tori answering the phones too?
No, we've got somebody helping with the phones, but there's all kinds of tickets, to different concerts.
Okay, folks, we need those phones ringing now. I'm coming up on time. I kind of forgot, talking to the doctor here, I kind of forgot that we're in Fund Drive. So I did a little bit less pitching than I should. 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738. I know that you love the show. I know that you want this show continued. I know that you don't want our new program manager, or not program manager, but station manager to say, Berto, look, man, I'm sorry you didn't make your pledge, even though you brought Dr. Alauna on and you brought stars and all that kind of stuff to the show, and you still didn't make your drive. Come on. Actually, folks, we do really need your pledge, 713-526-5738. Look, let me tell you something. If we don't as a radio station, if all these different shows that you hear, oh, we're falling behind or whatever, I know you get tired of hearing that, but it is true that we are the last thing in town as far as community radio is concerned. We are the last bastion of independent media where we can get somebody like Dr. Alauna coming on. And, this is info that we must have. The way the plutocracy works right now is they have controlled information right on Facebook, on YouTube. Right now, Zuckerberg has said that Elizabeth Warren, because she wants to break up these monopolies, is an existential problem. So what do you think they're going to do in their attempt to mitigate what they consider existential? Of course, they're going to bias the field. You only have independent media, independent radio to solve that problem. 713-526-5738. Lupita, dígame que tienes más allá.
Besides that one call that we just got in, I don't see
Is anybody on it? Are they taking a pledge? Or
we have one on the line right now.
Okay, that means we can take three more, folks. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. A mis latinos allá afuera, llámame 713-526-5738, por favor. We need you now more than ever. 713-526-5738. 8. I know you can do it, and I know you want the show. I want to talk some more with Dr. Alauna because I tell you what, actually I'm going to have you on a couple more shows, and the network show, because let me tell you what we need. We need to have, again, like I said, I've been practicing some of what you've said, but you always need to get that expert word that actually tells you, but you know what? Hey, now, and I like that. That is important, because what happens is, if you take a look at what's going on in society today, you can work for good or you can work for bad. And you know who have a lot of youths working for bad? The plutocracy. In other words, there's a lot of psychologists who understand the way the mind works, that work for a lot of think tanks, that work for the Cato Institute, that work for the Heritage Foundation, and they know how to express the message that's wrong for people in a manner to have people vote against their own interests, just because they know how the mind works. Well, you know how the mind works too.
Mm-hmm. I'm just telling people about it. Just that's what this is about, is giving. No one can control something if you know how to control it.
Right.
And I hear a lot of people talk about the theys and the these and the, all of the different boogeymen that we think are responsible for many things, which there's certainly some truth to, that other people have influence over how we think and what we do. But what I focus on is helping people think for themselves.
Right.
And to, many people are basing their belief systems on what someone told them.
Right.
And somebody before them told them that, and somebody before them told them that. And when you start going back to where the foundation of it is, that based on what they understood at the time, sure, that's might be what you call it. But based on our understanding now and what's easily provable by modern science and modern information, modern observation, there's a lot of things that we still are taking someone else's word for. And so learning how to dissect a situation descriptively, objectively, as non-judgmental as possible, which is actually kind of hard to do, because
the non-judgmental formula is hard.
Your brain naturally is judgmental. It cracks me up when people are like, I'm not judgmental. I'm like, but you are, because our brain is drawing conclusions, and whatever conclusions we draw, that we're drawing a judgment. And if the other person is doing something that we think is crazy or stupid or ignorant, or we use crazy to describe all kinds of stuff, right? Anything where we see another person behaving in a way that we don't understand, we like, they're crazy, So we have very non-specific thinking, which also means that when we're dealing with each other, we're not dealing with the individual, we're dealing with caricatures of what we think people are and who they are based on very limited information. So my passion is to help people look at a bigger picture, kind of zoom out on the circumstances, so that they're not just influenced by their little small, teeny, tiny bubble of perception.
I want to
see a bigger picture.
Interrupt you a second, because I want to do some pitching. But before I do that pitching, I want to ask you to tell folks how to get to your website, because I think you have a lot to offer them.
Sure. My website is dralauna.com, DRALAUNA.com. And you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Dr. Alauna, DRALAUNA, trauma psychiatrist. And for more information about the event on October 26th, the Trauma Cure, which CURE stands for Creators Using Radical Empathy. That's going to be at https://thetraumacure.eventbrite.com.
You create those you sit down and create those kind of
acronyms.
The acronyms.
Well, being in medicine, they taught us strategies. They taught us with intentional attention towards how do you retain so much information.
Okay.
And strategies for retention are, mnemonics and those type of things are really important. So repetition and mnemonics, it basically gives, it's like if I gave you a pill for something, when you feel this way, you take this pill. Right. If you're having pain, you take Tylenol. Right. I create the acronyms because it helps people recognize when I'm feeling a certain way, I use the
Cure
skill.
right.
You know, use the
or the one,
done
the Dear
skill.
Man.
Right. I use Dear Man. I walk myself through that thing with a strategy, and it helps you to remember how to get it out.
I like that. You see how insightful. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Folks, we're down to our last 13 minutes. I need you to give us a call. Support the program, please. 713-526-5738. Tori, do you have any news for me? And I know Tori's sitting down there somewhere.
We got two on the line. I was just trying to catch the third one. And so, yeah, they're starting to come in. They're
Thank you,
trickling
my
in
brother.
now.
Look here, my dear people. We have more people to answer phones. We can never get too many calls. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Now, let me tell you something. I told you I had something to talk to my Berniacs about. I was going to write the blog of the week, and then I knew that Dr. Alauna was going to take quite a bit of the time, and also I got into some great conversation in the green room. We were actually talking about Tyler Perry and a whole lot of stuff, and I won't bounce something off of Tyler Perry. You're going to give me a hard time, but I'm going to bounce it off of you. Okay. But anyhow, let me tell you, but what I want to talk about specifically is my brother Bernie Sanders and my sister Elizabeth Warren. I love them both, all right? And right now, a lot of my, I was a Bernie, I'm taking off my host hat right now because I'm talking political. I was a Bernie Sanders delegate in Philly for our brother out there. And, we kind of did things right out there in Philadelphia. We should have won that election. But that said, here's the deal. Harry Reid yesterday was questioned, and he gave the impression that a lot of my Berniacs are running with. He said that pretty much, in effect, I'm just paraphrasing now. He said that Elizabeth Warren is just playing a game, that all the words that she's using and the policies that she's coming out, especially for Medicare for All, don't worry about that, because in effect, he's implying that all of that is bunk. Mm-hmm. And my brothers, my Berniacs, have run with that. You see, I told you, and some people threw some stuff on another brother of mine threw some stuff on my Facebook page and say, you see, this is why I'll never vote for her, etc., etc. What I'm asking all my Berniacs to do is hold on for a minute, okay? All of this is the plutocracy working. All of this is a bunch of neoliberals working. Whether it is Bernie Sanders or whether it is Elizabeth Warren that makes it through the Democratic primary process, it doesn't matter which one it is as far as I'm concerned. Let me tell you what's going to happen. There's a thing called the president, and there's another thing called the presidency. And the presidency is a lot more powerful than the president. And the presidency can be controlled by a plutocracy, or it can be controlled by you. Over the last 50 years or more, we have lost control. The people have lost control of the presidency. They have not been doing their job to enforce what they've elected. Everybody still has one vote, no matter what. Now, a lot of people on the other side, when I say on the other side, I don't mean on the right, I mean the plutocracy, have used a lot of techniques that Dr. Alauna herself would be familiar with, but they've used it for wrong. They've used it for bad. They've used it to confuse people to vote against their own interests. They've used it to tell them that math is no longer valuable. They've used it to have you believe that things like Medicare for All doesn't make sense, but somehow a private healthcare system where somebody makes a hell of a lot of money for simply paying a bill does. Folks, let me tell you something. The fight is not between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. We shouldn't have Bernie Sanders people, I am a Bernie Sanders person, knocking Elizabeth Warren. And we shouldn't have Elizabeth Warren people knocking Bernie Sanders people. What we need to do is sit back and see who is best able to craft a message that resonates with the most Americans, so that whenever that person gets elected, we the people not sit back and let a President Bernie Sanders or a President Elizabeth Warren think the White House is theirs. But after they're elected, our work has just begun. Remember that. So right now, it's not the time for progressives to be fighting among each other at all. It is time for us to, if you love Elizabeth Warren, work your you-know-what off for her. If you love Bernie Sanders, work you-know-what off for him. And then, after folks have made a choice, remember that it's just the beginning.
Can I tell you about our strongest bias?
Please do, ma'am.
Our strongest bias is confirmation bias.
Mm-hmm.
And confirmation bias is when you believe that what you think is accurate or correct, and that anything someone says it's different from what you believe, you devalue, you put it down a little bit because it just didn't hit your dopamine, didn't make you feel good because it's different. And so people talk about all these different implicit biases that we have, but with confirmation, but an example of how that works is like if you don't think you're attractive and somebody's like, hey baby, how you doing? I want to talk to you. You're like, they're just saying that. They're just trying to, they don't really mean it. But if you try to talk to somebody and they're like, oh no, I have a girlfriend, I'm sorry, or I have a boyfriend, I'm sorry, you're like, oh yeah, no, they see the real me, they see. So you accept when someone says something that fits what you already think, but you reject it or you devalue it, or if it's coming from a source that you don't necessarily trust. So if it's coming from a source that you trust, you don't necessarily look at facts. You go, oh, it feels good, it seems right. Oh, I worship this person who's giving me this information because it's making me feel great, and I think they're right. And so one of the things that we really all have to look at is, why do we even believe what we believe about anything,
any one of them, or anything,
any of this stuff? Like what is my confirmation bias that makes, when people see a commentary about Bernie or about Elizabeth, they get into like, oh, I'm right, you're wrong, and then look at what this person's doing, this is what, and then we make really extreme statements that are completely in opposition to their goal, because I know pretty much anybody who's supporting Bernie or Elizabeth just wants a logical, competent president.
Alana, that is absolutely something that I think we have to get across, because the truth of the matter is, we don't know what is in anybody's heart. We don't know we don't know any of that. The only thing we know is what folks say. So what we got to do is work this stuff, and then whoever gets out there, hold them accountable to what they promise. And what we have been very lousy at is holding people accountable to what they say, because we go ahead, we elect them, and then we go off and do something else. We don't stay engaged. We don't stay engaged. So it's important, folks. 713-526-5738. Pledge Central, talk to me.
We have two people to thank and one on the line.
Let's go. Talk to me.
Oh, Amber got one of our beautiful KPFT peace hoodies.
Thank you, Amber. Yay. You're with Dr. Alana. Look at her strutting it.
And then Nicholas called in with another wonderful pledge. He's getting a keychain.
Thank you so kindly,
another
Nicholas.
One. Strike three. Jason called in. He's getting a keychain.
All right, Jason. Thank you so kindly, my friend. Thank you so kindly. Folks, we only have 5 minutes, so I need those phones to go crazy now. 713-526-5738. You heard this, you heard this wonderful, what you call it, balance commentary. And you know what? You call it balance. I don't want to say balance on my show because it sounds like Fox News.
No.
And Bill just walked in to pick up his own T-shirt.
All right.
He came in because he didn't want to miss the party. Come on down, folks.
Come on down, my brother.
Come get you a slice of pizza, get you a T-shirt, get you a keychain, get you a peace hoodie. It's going to get cold here. Who knows what kind of war Trump might start if he gets impeached.
Yeah, we need to feed you so you can be strong enough.
Protect you from the onslaught of this political season.
Okay.
713-526-5738. Folks, please let me end this thing on a bang. My brothers and my sisters, my listeners of Politics Done Right, PDR, you know I love you all, man. So come on, folks, 713-526-5738. Alana, you probably have that number better. You can say that it sounds better than how I say it.
Sounds better. Okay, 713-526-5738. 5738.
That is La doctora Alauna me está ayudando aquí. 713. Doctora Alauna. You have to say it like that.
Alauna.
Alauna.
I spent some time in Panama.
You did?
I did.
You have to tell me about that. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Folks, you can do it. You can bring us over the top. Naboo, do you have something to tell these folks real quickly to tell us to get us over the top? No, he's not there. 713-526-5738. One more time. 713-526-5738. Folks, we have 4 minutes to go. 713-526. What is it?
I didn't realize it spells jam KPFT.
Of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we hip, you know. 713 Jam KPFT. 713 Jam KPFT. Come on, folks. 713-526-5738. Any phones ringing? Lupita, dime que está con el teléfono. ¿Hay alguien en el teléfono?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, folks, come on. I need those calls.
Central.
Did I hear that phone ring?
No, it's quiet out here.
Oh, God, I need phone calls. Come on, folks. 713-526-5738. We can do it, people. You can still make it. We're done with the show. Pretty much. We're just waiting for your calls now. So you're not going to miss anything. Run into that phone right now and issue that call at 713-526-5738. Come on, folks. No more show. We gave you a great show with Dr. Alauna. And we told you about Bernie and Warren, and we kind of said, let's all make peace. Not war. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Lupita, ¿está el teléfono sonando? 713-526-5738. Come on, folks. You want to do it. I can see it. I can feel it.
Feel your fingers hovering.
I can feel that somebody says, I'm going to call. Then they back off and they say, I need to call. Folks, this is worth spending.
I've done that before.
Huh?
I've done that before. I've literally been listening and been like, "Ooh, I want to call." Like,
and then you hold back.
My budget, though.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it is important. It's an important.
It is.
Support. So.
713-526-5738. I got 2.5 minutes, folks. 713-5. Actually, I got 1 minute. Wait, what time do I get off? 58 or 59? 713-526-5738. I think I have till 59. 713-526-5738. Let's do this, people. Let's do it. Lupita, anybody on the phone? Come on. ¿Hay alguien en teléfono? Anybody on the phone? 713-526. Hey, listen, what that means, folks, is that if you call right now, guess what?
You'll be special.
You're special and you get answered right away. 713-526-5738.
You should sing it.
Yeah. 713
526
5738.
Okay, close me out, Tori.
Okay, well, it hasn't been a completely horrible day by evidence of that phone call that
there
we just
there it
had.
is. Give me 2 more before I finish, guys.
Come on, we got one
Never
little ringy dingy.
Never satisfied. We want more.
Give me
Get
one
Bruce.
more.
Come on, Bruce needs a phone call. He looks lonely over there at the other end of the table.
One more call, my brothers and sisters. One more call.
Somebody call in.
I've got 45 seconds. Come on.
Where are you?
There was a knock at the door. It was a dark and lonely night.
713.
It's Halloween. We could tell horror stories.
We didn't check the website, kpft.org. 713-526-5738. I got 20 seconds. 713-526-5738. Dr. Alauna, thank you so kindly for having been here with us. It's been my pleasure.
Of course.
And folks, you know how I'm going to end this baby. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.